Hey everybody, and welcome to the series where we're going to dive into video games. We're going to go back, take a look at games that I played back in the day, kind of revisit them, see if they improve, see if the games still have a thriving community, if it's an online game, and just kind of see if Father Time's been, good to these games, or because no one's really played them in a while, they struggled. If you like what you see, stay tuned and let's do this. Today we're going to be diving into SimCity. Wait, no, not that one. Or that one, but the most recent one. So if you're like me and you played simulation games, you have an idea of what SimCity is and what the franchise is. I mean, it was probably at one point one of the biggest city builder franchises that were out. I mean, I think it was probably one of the only ones that were out. Heck, you probably even know who that green hair dude, Dr. Wright, is. And yes, I actually had to look up his name because I couldn't remember what it was. When SimCity was first announced, there was a bunch of hype around it. I mean, heck, I was definitely hyped about it. SimCity did get off to a rocky start, and to be honest, it never really seemed like it ever recovered. From the many issues connecting to the server, to there just being a whole bunch of issues that kind of plagued the game, from just running it to what it possibly could have been for quite some time. Now, in this gameplay, we're going to kind of dive back into the game, see if some of these issues got fixed, and also see if any of them still really linger. Okay, first things first, I mean, it still seems that the servers for multiplayer are still available. Even I'm not sure what the population is, just because I don't know if there's any way to trace what server population is on this game. So I mean, that's a positive. They haven't shut down the servers from lack of popularity. I mean, for the purposes of this video, we're going to dive into multiplayer, kind of see if there's people still playing, if anyone's going to join the city I'm going to create, and we'll kind of go from there and just kind of, figure out what this game is like today. Now, if you're new to this series, I would say that this SimCity is probably a little bit more casual than the previous entries, and compared to a lot of the city builders that are available today, it's probably the easier one to get to if you're not wanting to deal with a lot of complicated mechanics. I mean, when you start a new game, it's a pretty simple thing to create your region, name the region, figure out whether or not, if you're playing online, whether or not you want people to join your region. And you can also even make it a sandbox if you want to just kind of have unlimited resources and just kind of mess around and see how crazy you can get. This is also where the game kind of differs from previous entries in the game. Typically in previous entries, you selected a region and you were just pretty much able to build anywhere. This one, on that region, as you can tell, there are various plot points that you can build within that region, but you can't build everywhere. So we're going to select this region, and then we're going to select the city we're going to start in, and we're going to dive into it and hopefully build a city and see how the game plays. Now, the one thing that's a little bit annoying, but I guess it makes understanding for online, is that if you want to go from the city you're currently at and then switch to another city, you have to go through a loading screen. Kind of like if you ever played The Sims 4, you kind of do the same thing if you go from one neighborhood to another. You have to kind of like load up. And within doing so, if you go from one city and load into another city, the city you were previous in doesn't continue to progress any further. It stops at the minute you leave. Like, it's kind of like closed out because it's not your active city. So if you're trying to like multitask, you really only can focus on one city at a time, get it to a point, and then move on to the next one, which definitely can get annoying, especially having to sit through load screens if you just want to kind of move around some resources or money or anything like that between cities. Right off the bat, just looking at the city that we chose, you can definitely see the size of the plot is definitely going to be an issue come later in the game. More to that later when we kind of build up the city and kind of fill out this map a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, the size of the plots kind of suck, but the cool features is that anything you kind of do in one plot, whether it's unlock certain systems in the government, kind of coincide to other areas and cities around the region. So that's definitely cool. Like, for example, if I were to make this one have all the government buildings to unlock the various services, now pretty much anyone in that particular area of the region can then also use those services. So I can unlock the advanced fire departments, advanced schooling, so on and so forth, just to make it a lot easier for other people to do various other things in other cities. Another feature that seems pretty cool that they'd introduced in this game is that you can actually have a city specialize in something, whether you want them to specialize in being like a tourist city, where it have attractions that people come and visit, whether you want, the city to be full of gambling, whether you want to dig stuff from the ground, like mining, coal and ores and various things like that, or you just want to be very high tech and develop technologies and sell the trade goods on the actual market, which definitely is cool. The only drawback to all of this, and it's one of the features that annoyed me when I definitely played, is as your city gets bigger and the city grows and expands in population, and if you're a tourist city, it also plays into a part, is the traffic. Traffic was one of the bad things about this game. As you can kind of maybe see in the background, my city is getting kind of bigger. The roads are starting to get kind of fuller. And with traffic comes various issues. If a house is on fire or a building's on fire, the police department takes a lot longer to get there to put out the fire, and there's a good chance that building's not going to be saved. If people get injured, the hospital's not going to be able to pick up the people that are injured and get them the services they need. If a crime's committed, the police can't get to the crime and try to capture the robber in the action, and then, you know, the robber is now at large, and it causes some interesting situations in the city. And the other thing too is if you're trading goods, there's 3 different ways you can trade goods, whether it's via water, by truck, and I think you can also do by air. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know if we'll be able to get to that in this video. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the SimCity game. I mean, to make this video, I probably did play for 5 to 6 hours to get to the point that we're wrapping up to at the end of this video, and we're kind of building up the city, getting our population up there, racking in the money, which is pretty cool. And I did overall have an enjoyable point, but because I played this game previously, the 5 to 6 hours was kind of all I needed to kind of get that, like, fix, I would say, from a simple city builder. And I mean, and like I'm saying, the game is not terrible. It seems like some of the issues that were outliers and that plagued the game when it first launched have been fixed, but there's other issues that still seem to linger to this day, and I don't know if it's because of systems that they built within the game. And it honestly also seems like the game's not as supported as it once was. I know Max's has been closed down since the release of this game, and other than the Cities of Tomorrow expansion pack, which came out a couple years after the game, there really hasn't been too much in the ways of updates. Well, there is a mobile game that came out like a year later. I believe people still play it. I don't know how popular it is, but that's a thing. But as for the future of this franchise, it feel like we're unsure if we're ever going to get another SimCity. This one did kind of crash and burn. Only time will tell. I mean, it did take almost 10 years to get another one. If you're looking for a casual city builder to play, I mean, I wouldn't say this game is terrible and don't want to pick it up. I'd probably catch it on a sale, or I mean, if you're a Premier Access member for Origin, you could always pick it up for free and just add it to your library, play all you want, and then drop it off. I also think the Cities of Tomorrow expansion pack is actually included with the Premier, so you can definitely get all the features the game has to offer. Thanks for sticking around and watching that video. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments below, and maybe hit that like button. If you want to know when I post other videos, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, Scar out.